Okay, very good. Okay, you want to switch to the next slide? Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our mentor training. There are several updates that we have to mentor training. That's why many of you are coming again, and I'm so glad that you all volunteered to take on this heavy task. Our new teachers really need this support, and we're glad that they are going to be receiving support from teachers such as yourself. So thank you very, very much for volunteering to be a mentor. This slide is, we wanted to share with you our office staff and who is in charge of what, because you may have very content specific questions about training or some requirements, and these are the folks who you would want to reach out to. Okay. Okay. So who needs a mentor? So teachers who have not completed a Pennsylvania induction program, they will need to have a mentor. Also long-term substitutes who will work at least 45 days or longer, and they have not fulfilled an induction, Pennsylvania induction requirements, they'll also need a mentor. As well as we sometimes have, oh, I'm sorry, just wanted to add something to that, because I thought about this because we're in this situation. We may have transfers from another school district where they're in the middle of an induction program. And in that case, what we do is we'll take a look at what they've already completed at their previous school and compare it to what we have. And we kind of tailor their program. And in some cases, we may say, you need to just start from scratch with us. It all depends. But we will let the mentor and the inductee know. Okay. Okay, so you all should have heard from your principals that we are now entering a 2-year plan. The state is requiring all districts to go from a 1-year induction program to a mandated 2-year induction program. Many districts are already using a 2-year induction program. While this may seem long, I think it's very, very helpful. I know that several of our inductees have asked for more time, once they complete the program. But also what we've seen is that the relationships between the mentor and the inductee continue. So we're pretty excited about that. So we're going to, Chris is going to go into detail about what that looks like. Another thing that we've done is we've moved the program from the binders into Canvas. We will still have papers available for those who need paper copies of things, but the Canvas site is very, very nice and user-friendly. Again, that came from several of our mentors and inductees. Feedback was, can we make the submission of all these documentation electronic? So they did a really good job changing that. And then we'll review what happens during the induction process and then how it is set up in Canvas. Okay, so the overview of the new hire training. Inductees will receive a minimum of 5 days prior to the school year, and that's provided by the CNI staff. So according to the contract, they have to serve, there's like summer academy to 3 days, and then there's 2 additional days for new hire training. So that equals the 5 days. And then the training sessions include several of the following. This is not an all-inclusive list, as you'll learn later, but best instructional practices, classroom management, curricular mapping and lesson planning, understanding the evaluation system, and then learning more about initiatives as it relates to their specific areas, such as science. We're talking about STEELs in science. Math is getting new curriculum this year, middle school ELA, new curriculum, so things like that. So that will all be part of their training sessions. And then mentors relate how to access and use SAS, and then each school's internal management systems, PBIS, MTSS. So all of those things will come from mentors. And I also wanted to say that mentors are not alone. We also have like tech facilitators in the building, those who have DNIs, department chairs, they'll all have a part of supporting the mentor and the inductee as well. Okay. So this is how we broke out year 1 and year 2. And I know that you see year 1 looks very heavy. That's the year where your new teachers are going to need the most support. So we try to prioritize what we thought should go in year 1 and year 2 while meeting all of the state requirements. So it's a long list. There are a couple of things that are highlighted on the list, and I'm going to turn it over to Steve, who is going to talk a little bit more about those 2 bolded items on the list.
So part of Chapter 49, the state has determined that districts have to provide professional development in certain areas. So structured literacy falls under that, but that was not the only requirement. So as part of an induction program, we now have to train teachers as they begin the program in ethics, and also what they're calling now Common Ground, which is really about equity and inclusion. And in the initial years, we also have to train all staff so that as people come into the district, everyone will have been trained in this, and as new teachers come in, they will receive those trainings. So we sort of broke it apart across the 2 years, and we're going to do ethics in the first year at this point and Common Ground in the second year. And we're looking into how those trainings will happen. So you can go to the next slide. So the goal of the induction program really is to support the inductees so that they can become a member of our district and understand effective teaching and classroom management strategies. So you as the mentor, you're going to guide them through this process to make sure that they understand what are district expectations, what are our policies, what are our practices. Also helping them to ensure that they understand what are evidence-based and effective teaching strategies so that their students can learn and grow. Also, classroom management. So they will receive, as part of their new hire training, a session in classroom management, but then you as well will help them along the way within the classroom, managing students so every child feels safe and secure so that they can engage in learning. The other goals are that we want them to build reciprocal relationships with their students, their families, and community, and really among the entire school so that they feel part of the school, part of the district, and they've developed a sense of teamwork. Chris, next slide. So then your job is to help them meet their needs. So as part of the induction program over the 2 years, you will be tasked with observing them as frequently as possible to identify what needs they do have and provide constructive feedback to them. You will meet with them to help them think through and reflect upon their practices and help them set goals for improvement. You will review their lesson plans and provide constructive feedback. And you will also model for them so that they can see evidence-based practices in action within your classroom, and then helping them, guiding them to other teachers that they might observe as well. Next slide.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Carrie Ancharsky here. So I want to talk just a little bit about the mentor selection. I've been receiving a lot of emails from the building level. Mentors are selected by the building administrators, and they're given a list of qualifications provided by the state and by the district that must be met to qualify as a mentor. And then once those are communicated to us, then we reached out to you. There were some also departments that some supervisors, maybe not the building administrator, but a district supervisor also provided names and recommendations for mentors. So we have this initial mentor training. We know that there are mentors who are not able to be here with us today. As Chris mentioned, we're recording this and we will follow up with additional training later in the year. So inductees get assigned to be a mentor. That's a collaboration between building principals administration and HR. And these are the characteristics that were given to a principal. So a mentor must demonstrate outstanding work performance, model continuous learning and reflection, and must have a minimum of 3 years in Central Dauphin. And we have had a few instances where a teacher was recommended, but they had not completed their 3rd year yet. And so they stayed on the list, but we cannot assign an inductee to a mentor unless they have been within the district for at least 3 years. Next slide.
Hey, Carrie, can I interrupt
yeah,
real quick? I'm sorry.
of
There was
course.
a question in the chat, and I actually had it in my notes. I meant to say it because some of you may have this question. If you already have a mentor, an inductee, if you're already a mentor, they're in the 1 year program. This is starting for our teachers starting for next year. So some of you may have already started, and it may have even been at the end of the year. We're going to just continue on with their 1 year. This is for the 24-25 school year. Okay, sorry about that.
No, that's good. Thank you. So for roles and responsibilities, we started this in the last induction plan, and we really wanted to clarify all of the people who help support our new hires, our inductees. And like Kelly said, like, you're not alone. We all have a role and a part to play in supporting the staff. So here at the CNI office, we do review mentor and inductee feedback on the mid-year and the end-of-year reflections, and through communication with our mentors. And we have made changes to the program each year based on that. So we are very grateful for the time and effort that you put into the reflection to let us know how we can better support both you and your inductees. So we do review that every year. We provide an overview of the induction program to the principals. So mentors today, principals are a separate day and time. We do facilitate trainings for mentors and new hires. We do evaluate the induction program. And then again, we collect the artifacts and portfolios, which get submitted then for mentors payment, but then the inductees, their completion of the induction plan. So a lot of that collecting of the artifacts and portfolios, we're working through Canvas this year, and Jill Robbins, who's not here today with us, but she plays a huge part in that as well as part of our department. The principal at the building level or special education supervisor within that department have recommended the mentors, work with HR to assign mentors. They should be conducting a building level orientation for any inductees, new hires in the building. And they should be helping to facilitate communication between yourselves and the inductee to make sure that you have time to regularly meet. So we get that feedback a lot. That we just need more time, we need more dedicated time, support and scheduling time. So we do work closely with the principals and encourage them to provide those opportunities for you to meet. And then, of course, it is the responsibility of the principal and the special education supervisor to meet with the inductee and the mentor teams. We have down quarterly. We'd like to just encourage that regularly scheduled time to meet with administration to talk about feedback, what's going well, what's not. And if there's any areas of support that might be, I don't want to say uncomfortable, but that you need additional support with supporting your teacher. So relying on them to help you with that as well.